Dead by Daylight falls into a weirdo zone of how I feel towards a game. On one hand, there are plenty of things I love about this game, and you won't find them anywhere else. But on the other hand, there are things about this game that are fucking abhorrent that need to be fixed. I'll start with this pile. I think one of the first things that stands out with Dead by Daylight for me is how unique the gameplay loop is. With most popular games out right now, you go to a specific place and shoot some dudes. It's a fine gameplay loop, and it's definitely the easiest for newcomers to pick up, but it's not very unique. If you know how to play one of these games, odds are you know how to play all of them. Dead by Daylight really stands out in this regard. The gameplay is essentially Mario Party minigames, the video game. You are a weak person with 3 other weak persons going up against a roided up dude that wants to fucking murder you. Or a teenager. Or a dog. There's a lot of killers in this game. A lot of the main gameplay loop is drastically different from other games due to the fact that it is an isometric multiplayer game. You can't have everyone on the same level when the game is inherently unbalanced. As such, the gameplay loop revolves around mind games. You spend most of your time trying to predict what the other person is doing and how to counter it. It's not super in-depth, but it's unique enough to where I consistently come back to this game. The amount of content in this game is bananas. While Dead by Daylight may lack in modes, it delivers in every other front. There are almost 200 perks, and for the most part, they all have a unique use and function. Shit! There are so many fun perk combinations that you can play with. You can be a medic. You can be a mechanic. You can be a bitch and run one of these. It's really enjoyable in this game to try out all kinds of perk builds, and while some perks don't exactly reward you, it's very fun to still play around with them. To really hammer down how much content is in this game, just look at the killers and maps. There are over 20 killers, each of whom has their own unique abilities and add-ons. Some of them can even become entirely different killers with set add-ons. On to maps, there are 16 of them in the game. Eight of which have different versions available to them. With a combination of killers and maps, it makes every match feel drastically different. That's about all the good things I have to say about this game, now to the bitching portion of the video. The biggest fucking blunder to this game is without a doubt the grind. Most games that have a long support window like Dead by Daylight usually have a pretty annoying grind that you have to surpass before you can get to where you're at least viable in a competitive sense. But this game is off the fucking rails. To give reference, I currently have around 400 hours in this game, and during that time, I was able to get one character maxed out, and he's still missing like 20 perks. The blood web system in this game is just plain outdated. It was made during a time when there were 4 survivors and 3 killers, and now there are 27 survivors and 25 killers. Creating something like a basic meta build takes an absurd amount of time. The sad thing is that it doesn't even need much change to be fixed. You see this right here? Bop. Instantly fixed a good amount of grind with that one change. Despite the grind getting perpetually worse with every season, there seems to be no effort to fix it. Whoa, you're floating! When people hear the word glitch nowadays, they usually think of this steaming pile of crap. But what people need to understand is that Dead by Daylight is actually the forerunner of modern day glitches. I don't think I've gone 5 matches in this game without running into some glitch. Some are pretty funny, like this one that lets you go to the fucking moon. But it doesn't change the fact that they're a blatant design oversight. You'd think for a game that has been out for so long and partnered with so many franchises that they wouldn't have as many bugs as they do, but you'd be wrong. This next point is more of a pet peeve if I'm being honest, but I still think it's annoying. There is virtually nothing stopping people in this game from playing like complete scumbags. Now I don't mean something small like spawn camping on COD. I mean getting you on a hook and making sure you never see the light of day, or being a bitch and leaving your team to die. There goes my teammate. There is no incentive for people to play how most people would expect, but even worse than that is that there's no punishment for people who don't. You could disconnect mid-match and have no punishment whatsoever. If I had to give this game a score out of 10, it'd be like a 7. There are good aspects to this game, and there is a reason as to why it has such a large player base, but it has limited itself from being anything more than okay with a plethora of problems. Even if these problems get fixed in the near future, it doesn't change the fact that it's been this way for nearly 5 years.